Great Duckworth's Ghost, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here, and DuckTales has done the impossible tonight. DuckTales has done the impossible. We are recapping yesterday's episode, the episode that aired yesterday, the Outlaw Scrooge McDuck. But Jacob, you want to know what the big impossible thing that I'm going to go ahead and let you guess, Jacob. I'm going to let you guess. I'm going to give you one shot at this. I'll just give you a clue. It's something that I haven't liked about this show that kind of gets redeemed in this episode.
You like Gyro here?
I like Gyro, man. I freaking really like Gyro in this episode, Jacob. And folks, if this is your first time watching our DuckTales recaps, all throughout season one, I was like, man, Gyro, I don't know. It's like he's just kind of like a sourpuss. He's just kind of like a downer. And you know what? Through this episode was the perfect way to use him, Jacob. I'm excited. Okay, Jacob, I'm going to mute my mic because I'm having a little bit of a sound issue here. But can you go ahead and just give your thoughts on the episode really quick?
Yeah, I thought the episode was actually really kind of really fun. I mean, it's always nice to see more of Scrooge's past. And in this case, it's the kind of like a perfect setting. The adventurous young Scrooge in the past, trying to find his stake in gold. And of course, along the way, he comes across the one and only Goldie O'Gilt, and a familiar ancestor to Gizmo Doc. In total, I thought it was a fun adventure nonetheless. I mean, David Tennant's on top notch as always, and as you said, Gyro himself is actually a lot more tolerable in this episode than he ever has been, which is a impressive feat in of itself. I mean, not that I personally outright despised Gyro before, but he definitely wasn't one of the strongest aspects. But they actually put him to good use here. Well, in the introduction of John Rocker Duck is actually a clever way to introduce an obscure comics character. Like this episode, if you ask me, this episode was really firing on all kinds of cylinders. The comedy was on top notch. The adventure aspects, how they kind of paid homage to Back to the Future Part 3 and all that, like with the whole West meets technology kind of thing. It was really fun. Okay. I also really like the framing device of it too. We get to see the return of the Ottoman Empire. The show that we saw in the previous episode, and we saw previously with Louis, who at first doesn't. It's the typical he doesn't want.
Ottoman Empire, those fiends.
Yeah, with Louis not really seeming invested, but of course getting invested as the story goes along.
Princess Bride, Jacob. Princess Bride,
yes,
Princess Bride, Princess Bride.
Inconceivable.
Yeah, I was really excited about this episode because it's I got to admit, Back to the Future Part 3 easily my least favorite of the Back to the Future movies. Like it's kind of a big step down, honestly, for me. But still, it was really fun, really clever. Not only did we have the Old West meets technology, but we also had the of course, with Gyro with the time travel, we had kind of like the mirror images of the kind of like the Fenton's ancestor, basically. That was kind of like a callback to Back to the Future. It was all fun. It was all fun. And like you said, Jacob, I really thought this episode was firing on all cylinders. It got like it had a definite classic Scrooge McDuck comic book vibe to it. And at the same time, it definitely advanced the story towards the end. And we'll talk about the cliffhanger when we get to it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's like I was just chuckling.
Go ahead.
Like I said, I was just chuckling.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, my bad.
Sorry, go right ahead.
Anywho. So let's see. I don't know. Where do you want to? Honestly, Jacob, I just got done watching this episode about 15 minutes ago, so it's all a little fresh in my head. So where do you want to start?
Like I think basically, I thought that basically I like how it like all framed through like Scrooge telling this story to Louis. And basically how Louis was basically deterred from his patent for a car bed by there was a line at the patent office.
Yeah, classic Louis.
Yep, and I even said that last night in like anticipation of what you watching this. It's like I will not be third person. And it's like I said, it's kind of
So go ahead.
and as you said, both the Louis plot and actually the subplot actually kind of intersect later on as well. In a kind of it's definitely unexpected to say the least.
All right. Let's see. So
yes.
I'm sorry. So we get into the Old West.
I wish we really need to see more Scrooge from the past because these are some very good episodes. Always focusing on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jacob. I'm going to stop trying to go chronologically here because this episode is kind of just a like there's just really good stuff kind of all over the place here. So I'm not going to try and go beat by beat on it. I'm going to instead reference one of my favorite scenes here, which is the hat. I really like the bit with the hat.
It's like the top hat suits you.
And I mean, might I just say, I just thought the chemistry between Scrooge and Goldie was just absolutely on fire. Like I thought it was honestly, it's not that I didn't like them in Goldie's introductory episode, but I thought the interplay between them was definitely a lot more interesting and dynamic. Maybe it's just the fact that it's like the Old West times. And I feel like that kind of like interplay and kind of like backstabbing and trying to one up each other really works in that time period, and it works within the context of a Western. Like I really thought they nailed the tone of that.
Like I said, that's one reason why I feel like this episode's like firing. It's like it's firing on like all cylinders. Like very few complaints with this one, if any.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really have any complaints at all. I mean, if anything, Gyro would have been my complaint, but Gyro ended up being one of my favorite parts of the episode. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, it's like he did a total 180. I mean, this doesn't redeem him entirely, but he was definitely like is it how they inserted him to the episode. I mean, I thought it was like going to be the whole continuation of the Ottoman Empire gag from earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out, nope, he was actually time travel. He actually was time traveling.
Right. I thought that honestly, like this does not redeem him entirely, but it is a big step in the right direction, especially if they do more like weird sci-fi crap with Gyro. Because honestly, Jacob, the thing I didn't really like about Gyro in season 1 was the fact that he really was just kind of like this crotchety inventor guy, which, yeah, I know that's his character in the comics. I get it. But my problem with it is that we didn't really see anything of him like outside the lab. I mean, we saw a few things here and there, but it was very sprinkled throughout. This was definitely Gyro in action mode, and I really appreciated that. Like Gyro definitely got into the mix, helped out in a very pivotal way in the plot. More importantly, he was actually funny this episode.
Yeah, we actually get to see some of the crotchetiness, but Like especially when you recognize Cabrera, he's like, you seem familiarly frustrating to me.
Lin-Manuel Miranda pulling off a fun kind of like over the top Western accent. I appreciated that. I feel like he was channeling his inner Mary Poppins, instead of like doing a bad British accent, he's doing a bad Western accent, but honestly, it works.
You can tell he's having fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, it's just so cool to have Lin-Manuel Miranda of all people on this show as like a reoccurring character. I keep forgetting how cool that is whenever he pops up.
It's kind of nice. Like I said, it is nice that they're actually able to get someone like him. I mean,
And I'm sure that he's a big fan, like, because like you said, like I feel like out of all the voice cast except maybe Tenet, and sometimes even he goes above and beyond Tenet, like he just gets really into his role. It's like, say what you will about the way that Fenton is written, he's a little bit divisive here and there from some people, and there's been some episodes. Generally speaking, I really like Fenton, but there's been some episodes where he shines brighter than other episodes. But Lin-Manuel Miranda's voice acting, and maybe this is just me as a theater fanboy speaking, and I clearly have a bias here, but Lin-Manuel Miranda's voice acting is just really, you can tell it's just infectious. Like anything else the man does, he really just, even if it's not great technical acting, you can just tell he's having a lot of fun doing that. It's the same reason I fell in love with his performance in Mary Poppins Returns.
and he's like I said, you can tell he's definitely having the time of his life doing these kind of things.
Oh yeah,
in pretty much everything he does.
I'm just waiting for him to play Sebastian, Jacob.
It's
gotta happen. It's like that is like fate.
And who knows? Maybe then he'll do a bad Jamaican accent.
Yes, please. I want that so much. I mean, I don't even like Disney live action remakes, but if we get Lin-Manuel Miranda as a CGI crab with a bad Jamaican accent, that would make it.
Oh yeah. All right, tangent aside.
Oh God. All right. Okay, so let me tell you just very cinematically what my favorite shot was in the episode, and it ties into a fun gag. Of course, we get the rocket horses, which was a great kind of like Back to the Future steampunk thing, which is going to lead into something even more cool. We'll get to that. We'll build up to that. But we get that great gag with I'm sorry, what is his name? Rocker Duck?
Yep, John D. Rockerduck. That's just like
Rockerduck, okay.
John D. Rockefeller, but Rocker Duck.
Uh-huh. He's on the train and he's like, "Oh, and this is the part where you're supposed to laugh." And then the one guy is just like, "Well, don't you feel guilty robbing all that gold from those poor people?" And then we get the iconic Jeeves. The second most intimidating character on the show after Duckworth's ghost.
Yes. Maybe we'll see Jeeves. Maybe we'll see Jesus' ghost.
Oh God. But okay, anyways, this is all building up to the shot I'm talking about, Jacob, is when this dude gets thrown off of the train, and then we see all of the characters on the rocket horses, and Goldie just kind of like makes a dramatic swoop to avoid the guy as he's falling off. You know what shot I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, they like that really struck me. I don't know, for some reason I was like, man, that's like cinematic DuckTales right there.
There's all kinds of great animation and lighting in this episode.
Yeah,
like, especially the
sure.
especially the red lighting when they were going against the big guy. Let's just call him the odd job duck. I mean, I don't know what else to call him. He had golden teeth and he had like metal teeth and a hat. He's like Jaws meets Odd Job.
Oh God!
Right. But as a duck. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I don't even know what you'd call that kind of guy, and I don't think he even spoke.
Right.
But like I said, the fight choreography and the lighting in that scene is what struck me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like you
It
could,
was just a very exciting sequence. The whole episode just had a great beat and rhythm to it. I felt like they cut back and forth. If anything, I would have liked a little bit more of the back and forth between Scrooge and Louie.
that would have been interesting. That would have been nice. Although I think with the Louis thing, it's the less. I think less is more.
I guess so. And we definitely need to see
Cutting back
those.
repeatedly would just kind of take away from the whole Western stuff, and that was arguably the best parts of the episode,
Yeah, that's very fair. Okay.
at least to me.
Now, Jacob, you and I, along with our dear friend Sandy Claus, aka Ezra, we are going to be meeting up on in September in Anaheim, and we're of course going to be doing the big, the big headlining thing of this trip is going to be Galaxy's Edge. Jacob, you and I and Ezra, along with a couple other people from the podcast, probably Monkey and Mandy Reith as well. We're all going to go in as a huge group. Huge for me, 5 people. It's like, yeah, I have friends, damn it. Look at the proof. But anyways, it will be the biggest meetup of people, because previously we've had myself, Mandy Reith, and Monkey, and myself, Monkey, and Adventure Blue Dude briefly. But and of course, me, Ezra, and Monkey. That was another combination of people that happened. But also me, Ezra, Monkey, and Garrett as well. But we haven't had 5. We haven't had 5, Jacob. We're doing a 5-person meetup, and Galaxy's Edge is going to be the main event of it. But you know what's going to be a big secondary event that I'm really excited to introduce you to, Jacob? It's like a park that I fell in love with.
What's that?
Knott's Berry Farm. So, Jacob, that song that Goldie sings on the train, Jacob.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're going to be experiencing at Knott's Berry Farm. Like that is like Knott's Berry Farm mood and atmosphere to a T. It's like the essence of Knott's Berry Farm.
Wow.
I'm not saying it was intentional by any means. I'm just saying that is totally like Knott's Berry Farm has the saloon show, and this is like pretty much exactly what it is. It's just kind of like this this really this really over the top kind of a showgirl, singing this song, and a really, the writing on the song is very much kind of like that old school kind of vaudevillian sort of rhythm to it, just like they do at Knott's. And there's also a live piano player on stage. So, Jacob, basically what I'm saying is that I'm really excited for that moment where we go to see the saloon show at Knott's, and I'm like, all right, you ready to see the thing that I told you about? That's just like that's just like that one DuckTales episode. This is like future Tiki here. Like I'm going to be planting a flag in the future, and then we're going to be looking back on it. Like I'll literally like pull up the podcast right before, and we'll cause like this big time loop of like, hey, Tiki, like future Tiki. This is past Tiki talking to you right now. The timestamp on this is literally it's 20 minutes in. Mark that, Jacob. 20 minutes into this thing. I don't know. I went off on a freaking tangent, but you know what? You know why I'm doing this is the time travel, Jacob. I'm trying to make a time travel thing, but I'm just like making it way too complicated. Anyways, woo! That was a rant.
Yep.
Wow, that was something. All right. I got the Red Bull jitters going on, Jacob. Anyways, let's see. Anything else? Anything else that I'm missing?
we do, and we didn't talk about one of the biggest things yet.
What, the cliffhanger?
Not the cliffhanger.
Okay. What?
What happens after Cabrera knocks out Gyro?
Excuse me. Yeah, of course. Gizmo Duck. You're right. We haven't talked about Gizmo Duck. Holy crap. Steampunk Duck. Yeah. Steampunk. Jacob, it's so cool.
Yep, we got to see a Wild West version of Gizmo Duck.
Like, that is like the last. I should have seen that coming with the rocket horses. I don't know why I didn't predict that, especially with the Fenton and Gyro dynamic we have going on in the episode. But yeah, that was a great payoff. And of course, I feel like Gizmo Duck is one of those big slices of fan service. Like if you didn't grow up with DuckTales as a show, then honestly, you probably don't care about Gizmo Duck at all. But for people who did grow up with Gizmo Duck and grew up with DuckTales, we know that it's a big deal. So that's what I like about it. It's like, in the show, it works really well in the context, but it works well basically as in context storytelling and fan service at the same time, and I appreciate that.
All kinds of neat touches in this episode. Oh, and did you notice that Gyro's time machine was a bathtub?
Yes.
It's like it's something. It seems like something Ludwig von Drake would design.
Oh my god, I need to see more Ludwig van Drake in this show.
It's like it kind of actually reminded me of the episode of the Mouseworks short where he actually created a teleporting bathtub.
Right.
Remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do vaguely remember what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure that aired on House of Mouse at some point.
Yeah, that's where I actually saw it, but I think it was a mouse.
Right.
I think, but like it kind of looked exactly like that. But I guess in this case, it was a bathtub time machine.
Bathtub time machine.
Like I said, that's totally something Ludwig von Drake would invent, though.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
We've seen him as the head of Shush here. I hope we see more of him.
Shush.
we need more Corey Burton, damn it.
Right. I won't deny you that, Jacob. More Corey Burton is always good.
no matter where it is.
Jacob, I swear to God, there's a street crosswalk that has like a. This is another tangent. I apologize, but in Petaluma, there's how sometimes the street crosswalks will tell you when to walk, like for the deaf, it'll be like walk sign on.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I swear to God, there's this. I swear to God, it sounds just like Corey Burton, Jacob. I'm convinced it's Corey Burton. Walk sign is on across Petaluma Boulevard. Jacob, it sounds just like the monorail voice. I swear to God. I think it's Corey Burton.
It'd be kind of funny if it was.
You know what? Next time I'm downtown, I'm going to record that and send it to you guys, and you can be the judge of it. Petaluma Boulevard. Walk sign is on across Petaluma Boulevard.
Hire Corey Burton to narrate everything.
Yes, just yes. Yes to that, please. All right, Jacob, I feel like we've hit the main points except for the cliffhanger, right? Anything else we're missing?
Well, I mean, except for the giant gold nugget, but that's pretty obvious for anyone who watched the episode.
Sure.
I mean,
all right.
I mean, there's not really much else. I mean, it's pretty much Back to the Future meets the Great Train Robbery.
Meets the Princess Bride.
Yes.
Who would have been Andre the Giant?
I don't know.
Maybe one of the Beagles?
Kinda. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
And then
big time Beagle.
You know what? I honestly, looking back on it, I feel like they missed an opportunity to have Gyro say inconceivable. Because I feel like if anyone's going to be Wallace Shawn in this lineup, it's going to be him.
Well, I mean technically,
here. I love you, Wallace Shawn, but
I mean, Blathering Blatherskite's close enough, I guess.
Right. I don't know. I feel like we're not talking enough about Scrooge though, because Scrooge, that hat moment, like, really did. I loved how it was literally like Dragon likes to refer to the chaplain finding the hat moment, and I feel like this is definitely in the same vein of like, oh, there it is, in the immortal words of Eric Estrada in Cool Cat Saves the Kids. There it is.
Oh God, I wasn't expecting that reference.
Oh, I'm going to wear that reference into the ground now that I discovered that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I've known of that movie for quite a while.
You know what? You know what's funny is I've known of that movie too, but have you actually sat down and watched it, Jacob?
Not really.
It's an experience.
I've just seen plenty of reviews about it.
I know, but sitting down and watching it, it's like The Room, Jacob. You need to actually sit down and watch The Room. Cool Cat Saves the Kids is the children's version of The Room, Jacob. That's all there is to it.
Oh God.
I mean, Derek Savage is the Tommy Wiseau for a new generation. I swear to God, I'm not even exaggerating here. I'm fascinated by the fucked up mind of that guy. Anyway,
But
all right, we're moving off. Let's talk about the cliffhanger.
and I was about to say, like as usual, if we're talking about Scrooge, David Tennant just, of course, continues to nail everything about the character.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, at this point, I don't even know what there is to be said. It's like, yeah, Tennant just bringing it. I mean, he pretty much embodies Scrooge at this point.
I mean, he pretty much is Scrooge.
I mean, not as much as Alan Young. I mean, no one's going to replace him, but for a new generation, for a different take on him, like,
but this Scrooge, I mean, don't get me wrong. As you just said, Alan Young is forevermore irreplaceable. But for this version of Scrooge, I honestly can't see anyone else but David Tennant. You know,
yeah, for sure.
I said at least I said at least for this particular Scrooge. You know what I mean? As I'm not trying to disservice Alan Young at all. Just for this particular Scrooge. Everyone else, I mean, for everything else, it'd always be Alan Young.
Yeah, I gotcha. I hear you.
Everyone else. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about that cliffhanger.
Sorry, that was... Like it was a surprising turn of fate. It's like it turns out like the main lesson of it was Scrooge just like trying to say like, do you want to be a con man like con man like John Larker Duck, a shifty cheat like Goldie, or a hardworking man like Scrooge? And at the end, we get our answer with him calling up Goldie.
And I just love how it plays up. I love the writing on this. It's like, hello, Goldie. Yes, I was wondering if you could mentor me, maybe show me the ropes, kind of build me up, give me my own empire. Oh, what's that? You think it would make my uncle very mad? Why, yes, it would.
He doesn't care.
I love it.
Honestly, hope that has.
It's so in character.
So I honestly hope that has some payoff in the future, not just like as a one-time gag for this episode. Although I doubt since they left.
Oh, I'm convinced it will.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt they put that in there. Just for the sake of a joke.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right.
Yeah, although they'll definitely.
Okay, Jacob. What's the? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm saying that'll if it definitely comes to pass, they'll definitely put him at odds with Scrooge.
Mm-hmm. So you want to give us a little tease about the next episode?
Keep it short and sweet. Scrooge gets sick and pretty much loses it when he believes that 87 cents has been stolen from his vault.
Oh man, that sounds like a lot of fun. Right.
I mean, hence the title, the 87-cent solution.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We are going to do our level best to get these DuckTales episodes pumped out, at a pretty consistent rate, like a day at the most going by between the episodes. And even when we have a day without them, we'll double down the next day. We're really committed to getting these DuckTales episodes out. Big Hero 6, unfortunately, I like Big Hero 6 a lot. I thought season 1 had a really good payoff to it, but fact of the matter is, as Captain Algorithm says, Big Hero 6 doesn't draw the numbers that DuckTales does. So, Jacob, unfortunately, Big Hero 6, what we're going to do with Big Hero 6, and I think this will still work out pretty good, is that we're going to basically every week, we're going to do a recap of all the previous week's episodes. So, for example, at the top of next week, so like Monday or Tuesday of next week, we're going to be doing episodes 1 through 5 of season 2. And then at the top of the week after, we'll be doing episodes 6 through 10, and so on and so forth, as long as they have these, these 5 episode a week schedules. And that's how it shall be done that forevermore. So said God. All right. Anyways.
I don't even get us started on Star.
Yeah, or Milo. Milo is just a lost cause at this point. I love you, Weird Al. I love you. Anyways.
But don't blame us, but it's Disney's fault with their weird ass airing schedules.
They're like, bleh, just episodes for days.
Why do they do it? Nobody knows. But
anyways, all right. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and stay tuned for the next one. Yeah.
woohoo!
Woohoo! I'm trying to think of a clever quip, but this episode is just it's a very classy episode that doesn't have a lot of quips. So I guess that's my clever quip.
You seem familiarly frustrating to me.
Steampunk Duck.